guys, what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to talk about update 2.21. I'm going to give my reaction to all the new champions, 22 new champions coming to the game, including a new fusion. We'll take a look at the fusion champion. We'll talk a little bit about that and talk about two other changes coming to the game. One already is inside the game, and it is an arena fix, which appears to be working. The arena seems a little bit easier today and late last night for me, but yesterday for most of you guys. Have you noticed anything different in the arena right now? To me, everything seems a bit easier, which is kind of weird. We'll get to that in a second. But, suffice it to say, today's video, gonna react. I have a few points of critique about the update and also some things I'm really happy about this upcoming update. So, where do we start here? With some good news. The Classic Arena has been subject to many heated discussions for a while now. For the last couple of weeks, we've been strenuously working on the matchmaking system, finally came up with a solution that will help our players enjoy the feature better. Previously, opponents were decided solely on tier size and the number of Classic Arena points they had. Now, they've added player levels and total power to the list of factors. So essentially, and it says these changes should already be visible in bronze and silver, and it will kind of pan out and affect, the entire arena eventually. Right now I'm in gold 4, and it's a lot easier, which again is weird because I have higher power and higher level. So why is it easier for me? No idea. That doesn't sound like it's working very well. But, all the comments and on the forums and Reddit, it seems like a lot of people are very happy about this and do notice things are easier kind of across the board. So that's great news. I mean, Arena is so important, not for the competitive trying to get to platinum tier for 99% of players. It's important because we need to farm medals, and you really need to be in the gold leagues to be able to farm a lot of medals to upgrade your Great Hall. So I'm really happy about this Arena fix. Let's go ahead and take a look at the champions, but before we do that, let's talk about the changes to the rare skill books. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do with these champions before we talk about the skill tomes real quick is I'm going to go over all of the legendaries and all of the epics. I have kind of bad news, just my opinion. We don't have all the information here on these champions, but I think all the rares pretty much suck. That's really bad because I went through every single rare. I really thought long and hard about this. I put strenuous time and effort, in the words of Plarium, into dissecting these rare champions over the last 3 weeks. And honestly, guys, I didn't find anything too exciting in the rare category. However, I will link this post for those of you who have not seen it yet, this forum post. And if you want to go through, we will take a quick kind of a skim through, but nothing that really got me excited in the rares. And that sucks, to be honest with you. I actually like new champions. I know a lot of people, especially if you go in these forums, man, a lot of people are very unhappy about new champions, but I really like new champions add to the game. Keeps things fresh and new, for me at least, my opinion, whatever, hate me if you want. However, I don't like when they just add in useless champions, right? I mean, I loved Frozen Banshee and Grave Chill Killer because they had a really defined and specific role and niche where they could lend a lot of value to a lot of players out there. But to just add crappy champions to the game, not too exciting. Not too excited about that. And when I say crappy, I mean really crappy, some of these champions, So I would rather not have 22 new champions, but rather 5 or 6 new champions that were really good or compelling, at least in one area of the game. I get that not every rare champion can be insane in this game, but why not give us a Frozen Banshee? One area, one champion who can have like an Allure or a Cold Heart type skill set that's really good for Fire Knight, or one champion that's really good for Ice Golem, or maybe for Doom Tower or something, So a little critical there. However, some of these legendary / epic champions are really good. So before we get to that, Valkyrie says in this post here, we will be removing rare skill tomes from Classic Arena Gold tier and Clan Boss, Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare rewards. So what does that mean? Why am I excited about that? Well, they don't go on to say this, so I want to be very careful without overreacting here. But that should mean, theoretically, we have a far greater chance from Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare in Gold Tier Arena of actually getting Epic and Legendary skill tomes, which is great news. And they said it was great news. So it'd be weird if they were like, yeah, we're removing these and not changing anything else, So I think that, by virtue of them removing rares, hopefully the skill book drop rate, if you will, and I apologize for my my smoke detector. Jeez, man, I just changed the batteries in the other one, and now the other smoke detector's going off, dude. New house, I apologize. Anyway, good news there, right? Now, I'm sorry, guys, I'm very rambly today. Can you tell? Before we get into all these champions, I will say one thing that I'm very, very disappointed in. I want a new faction, man. A lot of these there's a mouse champion being added to the game. That's not a skinwalker. That's a mouse, you know? Give us a new faction. I would love, if they're going to introduce 22 new champions all in one big bunch, it'd be really cool if they were, you know, Saito, Samurai faction, or a mouse faction, or something like that. Unfortunately, that is not the case here. They're all existing factions. I would love to see a new faction added to the game. Something that, you know, something a little bit, adding a little bit new with the new champions would be good, rather than just more, you know, barbarians and skinwalkers. Anyway, Ursuga, not Ursula, she looks very, very attractive, huh? I like it. Very interesting picture. I can't wait to see what she looks like, right? I'm sure she's like full metal plated in like 8 feet tall is what she looks like here. Anyway, Ursuga Warcaller is a Void Legendary Barbarian HP champion, so damage based on HP. We don't have the multipliers, obviously. We don't have the information about cooldowns in terms of what you can get when you book these champions, but to suffice it to say, we can take pretty educated guesses on a lot of this stuff. And, you know, with her, she's one of my favorite champions being added. Obviously, she is a Void Legendary, so she ought to be really good, right? Attacks one enemy, has a 45% chance of putting a block cooldown skills on the A1. Really solid there on the A1, right? And who knows, that could be booked up even further from 45%. On the A2, barrel through, attacks all enemies, and then places a 30% decreased crit damage debuff and a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns on the target whose attack is higher than their defense. Okay, so there's a lot of these kind of weird champions in this, and I love this in the legendary and in the epic category. Again, the rare is nothing to write home about though. So if the attack is equal or lower than their defense, she will put a decreased speed and a decreased defense, which is good because she's going to be doing the appropriate debuffs to nukers or defensive-based champions. Really cool barrel through ability. And that's on a 5 turn. It's based, okay, my bad. It's based on HP. I'm just assuming because she's an HP-based champion. And interesting, right? Interesting. She could put her in a shield set, and oh my god, dude. And then she has one of the best buffs, support abilities, I should say, in the game, and ally protection on the A3. Bottoms up. Ally protection 50% on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Plays a strengthened buff on this champion for 2 turns. Solid ability again. And Golden Guard passive, decrease the damage all allies receive from critical hits by 30%. This champion will receive that damage instead. That's really, really solid, man. I think she's going to be an incredible champion. Again, very difficult to get, though. That's a sucky part. But you know what? I can't play both sides of the fence here, too. I hate when they introduce Void Legendaries who suck or who are not that good because it waters down the Legendaries. It waters down Void Legendaries. This is the Fusion Champion right here. Vergumkar. Vergumkar. He is a Legendary Spirit Lizardman support troop. Okay, and he's the fusion. This is going to start Monday, this fusion. So in only a couple days from the time of this recording, this fusion will start. And let me tell you guys, it's going to be an old school fusion. So it's not going to be a fragment summon. You're going to need 4 epics. We don't know which champions those are yet. Then you're going to need 4 rares to fuse those epics to fuse him. So old school fusion for this dude. On his A1, attacks one enemy, has a 35% chance of placing a stun. Solid. Chance increased by 15% for each buff on the target. Solid to actually have this stun on the A1 at 35% chance, not too bad, right? Honored Ancient removes all provoke. Let me just cut to the chase here real quick here, guys. I think he's going to be an arena specialist on this champion for the most part. Obviously, if you pull him in the early game or if you fuse him, you know, and you're still in the early to mid game, you'll probably be using him in a lot of places. But in terms of, you know, long-term viability, if you invest in this champion, I think he's mostly an arena kind of niche champion, but I could be wrong. Removes all, on his A2, removes all provoke debuffs and 1 random debuff from all allies. Plays an increased defense for 2 turns on allies who have debuffs removed. Also plays a shield buff on all allies equal 20% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. Such a really, really solid ability. So maybe I take that back. Maybe he is going to be good. And AoE on his A3. No damage on the A2. AoE on the A3 removes 1 random buff from each enemy. 75% chance of removing 2 random buffs from each enemy. Plays 100% block heal debuff for 3 turns on enemies who have more than 1 buff removed. Also plays a decreased defense for 2 turns on enemies who have 2 buffs removed. This is where I talk about specialty, right? Kind of niche. You're going to bring him into the arena when you're going to have a lot of buffers on the enemy team, okay? And then you bring him into the arena when you're going to go against a Krisk or someone with an AoE provoke in their kit as well. So again, we're starting to notice a lot of kind of niche utility in the arena on this champion. Immune to provoke, again, great against Krisk. Fills this champion's turn meter by 20% each time an enemy attempts to place a provoke debuff on this champion. Solid, right? Definitely like a counter champion to provoke landers in the game. Increase ally resistance in all battles by 55 on the aura. Again, we're going to go over the 4 or 5 epics here, and then we're going to call it a video, guys. I'm not going to cover all the rares because, again, I'm not too excited about any of them. Now, this one, I'm not sure. Yeah, 2 really solid epics here, guys. Baroth the Blood-Soaked. Barbarian Force HP again. So damage based on HP we're assuming here. Attacks 1 enemy 2 times. First hit has a 20% chance of filling this champion's turn meter by 10%. Second hit has a 20% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10%. Love that A1, right? A little turn meter manipulation on the A1, thank you very much. On the A2, Splattering Hacks. Attacks 1 enemy 2 times. First hit plays a shield equal to 25% of the damage inflicted on all allies for 2 turns. Sweet. Second hit heals all allies by 10% of the damage inflicted. That's a really cool ability. I really like this champion, man. I really like this champion. Serpent Axes, Ascended. Attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Again, the first hit, different things happen on each hit on both abilities. On all 3 abilities, excuse me. Really cool champ. Outside the box thinking in terms of, I've never seen a champion like this either. I like something new. That's what I just discussed. Something new added to the game when we add new champions to the game. Give us something new, not something that every other champion can do, you know, or a lot of other champions can do. First hit is a 75% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff for 2 turns and a 75% chance of removing any increased attack buff from the target. I'm assuming you can maybe book that up to 100% chance. We'll see. The second hit has a 75% chance of placing a decreased defense debuff for 2 turns and a 75% chance of removing any increased defense from the target on a 4 turn. If that can be booked down to 3, that would be really amazing. Splattering Hacks, same thing. I'm assuming there's going to be at least one of these abilities that will be booked down. So Baroth the Blood-Soaked. Really excited about that champ. Also excited about Fane, the mouse, who should be a new faction, man. Spirit Affinity Skinwalker attack based. Really good clan boss and probably in a lot of areas, honestly, in the game. Really cool champion. I can't wait to see what she looks like, too. Attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Each has a 35% chance of stealing 5% of the target's current turn meter, excuse me. And maybe that can be booked up. If you can book that up to, you know, more than 35% chance, pretty solid, right? Ascended on the A2. This is on a 4 turn. I think it's going to be probably booked down to a 3 turn, I would imagine. We'll see, though. Attacks 1 enemy. 75% chance, going to assume again it might be booked to 100, of placing 2 poison debuffs and a decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. If this is a 3 turn, really, really solid poisoner and decreased attack debuffer for clan boss. Flowing Style on the A3 attacks 1 enemy 3 times. The first hit has 75% chance of placing a decreased defense debuff for 3 turns, maybe booked up to 100. The second hit has a 75% chance of placing a weakened debuff for 3 turns. Third hit heals this champion by 4% of max HP for each debuff on the target. Dude, you're going to have 10 debuffs on the clan boss. It's going to be a solid heal, right? 40% heal there. That's really cool. I love this champion, man. Both of these epics, really awesome. The other epics, they're all right. But those are my 2 faves, the first 2. Caden, let me know if you see something that I don't see on these champions. Caden, Attacks one enemy has a 15% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. Not bad to have a provoke on the A1, but 15% chance. We'll see. It's certainly not a seeker. Probably can be booked up, though. We'll see how much it can be booked up to. Attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff for 2 turns on a 4 turn. I'm assuming that will be booked down to a 3 turn with a 100% chance. We'll see. And then Favor the Chamber. Ascended. Revives 2 random allies with 50% HP and places a 60% increased defense buff on them for 1 turn. A solid revival, maybe booked to a 5 turn. So a good reviver if you don't have one, but I've seen better, right? Decreased attack 2. Defense based. We're always looking for defense. You know what? I'm talking myself into Caden. Defense base is solid. Dark Elves, great for faction wars, I think, this champion. And Doom Tower potentially as well. Man, Tuka the Wanderer, a orc champion, right? All these orcs look the same. Is that stereotypical? I apologize. But he looks like Galek and Ultimate Galek, right? Maybe a long-lost brother. I guess they are the same faction at the end of the day. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of increasing the cooldown of one target's skills by 1 turn at random. Excuse me. Increases the cooldown of all the target's skills by 1 turn. Instead, if this champion has less than 50% HP when attacking on each hit. Really good A1. Attacks all enemies. 75% chance, hopefully booked up to 100, of placing a decreased speed for 2 turns. Also plays a 30% increased speed buff on this champion for 2 turns. Heals this champion by 50% of the damage inflicted if they have less than 50% HP when attacking. Decent ability. AoE as well. Attacks one enemy. Steals 50% of the target's turn meter. Has a 75% chance of placing a stun debuff for 2 turns. Steals 100% chance of the target's turn meter if the champion has less than 50% HP when attacking. You know, this champion is really good too. Decreases the damage taken by this champion by 20% when their HP drops below 60%, and increases ally attack in all battles by 22%. It is an attack-based champion, though. I don't know. I'm not going to say really good, solid. He is Void Affinity, so he ought to be pretty good, right? Draconis can't really say the same thing about. We're getting into rares. That's it. Those are the epics. I think the epics and legendaries are all pretty solid. What about you guys? I mean, there's only, what, 5? There's 6. There's only 6 of them. Draconis is the only one I will mention in terms of he's HP-based champion, rare champion, Void, Sacred Order, and then has a heal on the A1 with the lowest HP. By 7.5% of the damage inflicted. HP-based champion again, so you can stack him with some HP because he's placing a shield buff on all allies equal to 15% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns, assuming, again, that can be booked down to a 3 turn. How many times have I said that in today's video, right? Attacks one enemy, removes all debuffs from the ally with the lowest HP, then heals them by 25% of the damage inflicted. I gotta say, this is the only rare that I actually am pretty excited about in terms of, or I think has some potential. Draconis. Granted, it is a Void, but HP-based, Sacred Order, all looks good to me on this champion. Everybody else here, Sanctum Protector, not too bad. Increased defense buff, the weak version though. Ascended on his A2. Also has a Provoke. Defense-based though is good, right? And then, everybody else, you guys can read them. I'll have the link for you guys. I'm not going to sit here for another 20 minutes and go over every single one. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of attack-based champions too, man. Like, they're all attack-based, you know. A couple supports, 1 HP. But, don't get too excited about it. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you in terms of the update content. Any of these champions you're really excited about? Are you guys planning on doing the fusion? Obviously, it does depend on the champions. I get it. Are you mad or upset about the fusion not being a fragment summon? I actually like fragment summons better, personally. But old school, yeah, I just like him better. I was going to try to give any silver lining there. I like him better. So, all in all, I love the arena fix. I love that the books should be easier to get. I like some of these champions. I don't like that it's not a fragment fusion. But at the end of the day, wanted a new faction. Want a new faction as well. Guys, let me know what you think of this update 2.21. Still can't wait for Doom Tower. No ETA, I don't believe, publicly available on that. But hopefully that coming soon doesn't end up being a year. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content here, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys, and as always, take care, guys.